Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. We are back on the Ninja free-to-play account and we probably have a bit of an update. I haven't really given you guys an update in a couple of days. We've had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of events and, I've been doing a lot of live streaming and then a lot of stuff going on in the real life. So I feel like we have to do a pretty hefty catch up. So this might be a longer video, but it also could be short. I don't know. I don't usually give that much preparation into these, but a couple of things I did want to let you know about before we get started. Number one is I believe I have an account takeover uh, scheduled for tomorrow morning. That's going to be Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can come hang out in the stream and watch me do that account takeover. And then second of all, on Friday, we're going to be pulling shards. So from what I'm hearing, it's going to be, and this may have been confirmed. I haven't seen any official yet, but it's pretty consistent, the information I'm getting, a 2x primals, meaning that these primal shards, you have a 2x chance of getting a mythical. Well, we're going to want to pull those. We will be pulling those on the free-to-play and the main account. I don't have any on the Ninja account, of course. We'll be doing that live on stream Friday morning. On the free-to-play account, I will also be pulling this Prism Shard because it should, on Friday, overlap with an event. I think it's probably going to be a deck of fates, maybe. I don't know. But it's going to overlap with something, so that's going to be beneficial to me as the player to try and double dip. So anytime you get if you can wait to pull that, you can. Now, how did I get that Prism Shard? Well, of course, we farmed Sand Devil. This is also why I haven't made a lot of content lately, because I've just been putting every single bit of energy into Sand Devil while we were doing our missions. And we got caught up on the missions. I think I mentioned to you guys that one of the missions that would be a slow point for me was the arena one, and it was indeed. It took me a while to finish that. It took me a couple of days. I wasn't doing the problem. The problem that I run into, in case you're wondering, like, why don't you just use your refreshes? What are you talking about? Well, it shouldn't take you a couple of days. The problem that I run into is this is what I'm going up against now, right? So these are the teams that I'm getting queued up against, and you'd be like, oh, well, it's only 47,000 player power. But then I go up against them, and they actually have, like, well-built champions, and, okay, not this particular team. It's a bad example. But, but you can see that like, every other team here, and I've fought some of these teams already. This team I couldn't beat. This team I didn't try. This is a little lower player power, so maybe I could try and take on that one. But the problem is, as soon as I rank up into gold, I get way harder teams, so it's harder. I can't just spam arena and get that farm going. So I'll get there eventually, and we're going to talk about one of the great ways that I'll be able to do that. As far as this Prism Shard, I got to be honest with you. I don't think this is the best investment. However, the investment is not necessarily for the epics. It's more so for the fact that we could get somebody good, right? If we were to get Sun Wukong, that would blow. Well, I don't know. I'd probably rather have Ragash, Razzlevarg for sure. Gwendolyn, I like Gwendolyn. I want to be clear about that. I just don't know this early into the game. I don't know that I can necessarily get the value out of her with weak gear, no books, masteries taking forever, right? There's definite value in this A1 for, like, clan boss, especially since we're using HP burn and poison, and being able to increase those debuffs is very valuable. Obviously this guy is insane. I don't know that he would help us on clan boss, which is our focus, but these are very hard to get, so if I did get lucky and pull him, I would be ecstatic about it. Stick track actually might prove to be pretty good in clan boss for us. You've got a decreased attack on the A1. You've got ally protection, some reflex damage, and AoE decreased speed will help us in other content of the game. And we get a leech too, right? So I do think that those champions were good. And I want to be clear, Sun Wukong's amazing. I would love to get Sun Wukong. I'm not saying that. I have a Hef rack. And I'm trying to hedge my bets. I don't want to have an entire roster of PvP nukers. That doesn't solve the problem, right? That doesn't help me progress. But stuff like ally protection helps me progress. Decreased defense with a stun will help me progress. Strengthen, increased speed, perfect veil will help me progress. This would also pair very well with the new champion. I didn't even think about that. And we're going to talk about him in a second. Big speed boosts with a multi-hitter A1 helps me in progression and in clan boss, right? So it's just a matter of Sun Wukong is great. I would love to get him, but he doesn't help me now. Would I still be happy to get him? Absolutely, because he's going to help me later. He's a better nuker than Hefrak, in my opinion. When built properly and when able to take advantage of his skill set, but I don't need one right now, right? I have a nuker, I have a decent nuker, so and then that's the same thing with Gwendolyn. Like, she brings good, like, increased accuracy. We want that, right? And a leech is really, really solid, and then the buff extension. So I do like her kit. I would be happy to get her, of course. It's just maybe not as impactful and doesn't fill that need that I have right now. And that need that I have right now is multi-hitters, which we're going to talk about. Also, why I haven't made a video in a minute. And, decreased defense and decreased attack, that kind of stuff. So, anyways, why am I only talking about the legendaries? The epics, they're not great. And to be honest, very few of these I think are going to get see play. You would argue in most cases that, oh, well, maybe Hofrees would get play, right? You have an increased attack with an increased crit rate. That's pretty good. You get a reviver. That's pretty good. A chance for a stun and an A1, although low, still pretty good, right? The problem is we're about to get Loki. Loki gives an increased attack buff and more value than what I feel like Hofrees does, other than not being able to revive. And then I feel like I liked his kit early on. I actually do. Decreased crit rate is slept on. This is actually pretty good in some cases, because then you can't get crit by a boss, because their crit rate, I want to say 15. I could be wrong about that, but their crit rate is low enough that when you do a decreased crit rate of 30%, they're definitely not going to hit you. Increased crit rate and crit damage with a mini cleanse. This wouldn't be terrible. Plus the heal. Of course, it's a heal when they're critically hit, which kind of doesn't make sense. Small chance for decreased speed on the A1. 50% chance. That's actually not that bad. Bovos isn't that bad. Fane is really, really good. Fane would be really, really good for clan boss. Multi-hitting as well, which would help me in my current struggles with Fire Knight. Steel Skull I know used to be really, really solid. Mini cleanse with a heal, but it's a single target heal. I don't know if that's really going to fulfill what we're looking for, but it does bring increased defense. Oh, there's the heal. Sorry. Yeah. So Steel Skull would fill a role for us and our roster. So there's definitely some value here, but they're just not like the top tier kind of epics that would really be game changing for an account. So, but there are a few that we'd fit in. Of course, if we get Weregrund Suncursed, that would actually be pretty good. Not necessarily that I like this guy's kit or anything. It's not the worst kit, but would get us closer to Mikage, and he's one of the harder ones to get in the Mikage fusion. Lady Mikage is a mythical champion that we could potentially fuse, eventually. These Void rares they're not as hard to get as some other stuff, like as epics, right? But it's still going to take some time. And if you can just get him, you don't have to worry about those rare voids at all anymore. So, it wouldn't be, there's no downside to getting him, just to be honest. Anyways, we're pulling that one. We'll see what we get, but we do need to talk about cool new stuff. If I can find it. Loki Chase, here we go. So I haven't looked at this gear yet. We're going to do that live on camera here now. But getting Loki is going to be pretty good. Let's talk briefly about his kit, what he brings to a free-to-play. First of all, right out the gate, he's Spirit. Yes, we need Spirit. We are so magic-heavy with everything we've pulled on this account. Having even just one Spirit champion is really going to help us out. But let's take a look at the kit. an AoE A1, a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. Now, we just talked about why this would be good on Gwendolyn, and that it's going to be good here as well, right? Because we can extend our burns and our poisons, which are really what we're getting a lot of our damage, our decreased defenses, our decreased attacks. Extending that is buying us more time to put them back on things like Clan Boss, right? Now, that's a pretty low chance, but that increases to 50% when under Veil or Perfect Fail, which is a part of the kit, and then that also goes up for another 20%, so that would go up to 70%. This is a single target. If it targets an enemy, it has a chance, 100% when booked, of placing block active skills and block buffs. And if they're under Veil or Perfect Veil, which they should be, hopefully, then they'll debuff spread that, taking 2 random debuffs that are on the target and spreading them. So, block active skills and block buffs, this is going to be good for wave content. There's certain bosses that this could be good for. I think you can block active skills on the Eternal Dragon. I don't know. I know you can increase cooldowns, but I don't know if you can do block active skills. I could be wrong about that. If you target an ally, though, you heal them by 50% of this champion's max HP and places a Perfect Veil buff on them for 2 turns. If this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil buff, also applies a buff spread effect, taking a random buff from the target and placing it on all allies. It's a very complicated ability, and it may seem not that useful. At the level that I'm at and what the content that I'm fighting, maybe it's really not. It feels more of a mid-gamey, late-gamey type ability because block buffs is really good for Hydra. Block active skills is good more for control. And then here you've got like Perfect Veil is also good for Hydra. But Perfect Veil in of itself is good. And could be very valuable on your champions, even in Clan Boss. And the reason being that Perfect Veil reduces incoming damage by 15%. I'm making sure my head's not blocking that. Yeah. So there is some damage mitigation with that in the kit. Finally, 75% chance of stealing all buffs from a target enemy and 100% of their turn meter. These effects cannot be resisted if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. This cannot be resisted part, really, really handy. Really, really handy to have. Doesn't matter what my accuracy is, they can't resist it. So you're talking turn meter stealing and buffs. And we'll talk about how this is really going to help me later. If the target's turn meter was not stolen, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. Turn meter fill, we need that. And places an increased attack. So this would immediately replace my Spirit Host as my increased attack champion. So I go from a rare to a legendary, who would also give me either turn meter stealing or turn meter to my team, right? So there's value there. And that turn meter fill is going to help me go first, which is the type of team that we're running. So I actually do see a lot of value here from this champion. And then lastly, we would have to ascend Loki to 3 stars for this. Places a Perfect Veil buff on this champion at the start of each round. Just to clarify for you guys, the start of the round is going to be like each wave, right? So if you're doing like a dungeon like Dragon, there's round 1, round 2, round 3. You fight the wave, then you fight the boss. So this would fall off after 2 turns, right? But he also places Perfect Veil on this champion for 1 turn whenever he drops below 50% HP. So, and I don't know the synergy here, but it would make sense if this could just be casted on yourself. But my question that I have is, if you place Perfect Veil on yourself, would you then still buff spread it? I assume that you would, but I don't know for sure. And by the way, those are random buffs, so it may not actually spread the Perfect Veil. It could spread other buffs that they have, but that can still be useful. So let's go back to this. Sorry, this passive. Then this one, which is really crazy to me, has a 15% chance to evade an enemy skill and all of its accompanying effects. If this champion is under a veil or perfect veil, the chance to evade increases to 30%. And lastly, if this champion's HP is below 50% when targeted by an enemy skill, has a 100% chance to evade that skill and all of its accompanying effects. This guaranteed evade then goes on cooldown. Really, really awesome kit. I like it. It's not, it doesn't, I don't think it reads that well, but this can provide some value, certainly in Arena, but also just kind of in general in the game. I mean, just evading a hit can have major impacts in some cases. Bringing perfect veil is strong. Bringing increase attack and turn meter is strong. Block buffs, block active skills. The turn meter stealing. By the way, that's stealing. So just to be clear, if somebody's at 100% turn meter and you steal their turn meter, you're getting an extra turn on top of this. So you can steal their stuff and then go into placing block active skills or block buffs or giving your team, perfect veil, right? There's different stuff that you can do. Now, one thing I will say that's going to be frustrating about this is what the AI wants to do. This is not good against a boss. This is good against a boss. So if you tell it to prioritize this ability and you're against a boss, is he smart enough to say, cool, I'm going to place perfect veil on my team and spread it? I don't know. So that could be a potential problem. Either way, at the very base value of this guy's kit, it is better than a Spirit Host. And that's all that matters. The only thing I lose is the speed aura, which I'm not thrilled about, but you make do with what you can, and I do think that he is better for me than what Spirit Host would bring on the account, especially with the turn meter steal and the blocking skills. You could just lock the enemy team out if he's built really, really fast, allowing me time to ramp up and use my abilities. So there's a lot of value here that I can see. Okay, plus if I move on to phase 2, we could also get a 5-star soul for the guy. That's going to be really, really good in many, many different areas of the game. So let's move on to the other reason that I haven't been recording. I think I mentioned this in another video, and I'm not 100% sure that I did, or I'm not 100% sure that I released the video. But I tried to complete this challenge, and it almost broke me. Stage 13 of the Fire Knight's Castle. It is a very bad affinity for me. It's force affinity. I've done everything that I can with my current gear up until this point to try and beat it. Armag is a great solution for Fire Knight and would work. It's the waves that are the problem. I don't have the wave clear. And if I bring in certain champions to have the wave clear, then I don't have the speeds to break the shield and let Armag do his thing against the Fire Knight. So it's just a lot of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Now, eventually I'll get the gear to be able to support that. I'll get the levels to be able to support that. I'm running a level 40 Spirit Host here, right, as part of my team. That's not going to cut it. And so, there are certain things that I'm doing that are not necessarily beneficial to me as the player. We are getting a little bit better gear now, but we're still running a lot of 4-star stuff. We're just not getting a lot of the help that I would prefer, banners and rings and such. So it really crushed me. It really did. I had a really hard time dealing with that. I lost my temper pretty bad, and so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get off the game, and then I've still been playing it, but I haven't had anything to talk about because I've just been doing. Once that it was really what made it most frustrating is that I failed it, and then was like I wasted like 500 energy, and that's not an exaggeration. And then I was like, oh god, I now have to do Sand Devil, and I don't have any energy. What am I gonna do? So obviously you can see I managed to complete it. Um, but yeah, it was very, very difficult a time for me. And since all I've been doing is Sand Devil, I didn't have any updates to show you, but now I do. So that is kind of where I've been a little bit. And we're not giving up on that. It's just we're going to wait for a later time. And good news is we don't have that 2x for Sacreds that we thought we might have. So that means that I have more time to get it done. Loki, by the way, would help me there. Turn meter control, right? I don't think he had a multi-hit hitter. No, just an AoE hit. But the turn meter steal, 100% turn meter steal would be very valuable. Evading damage and that perfect veil is going to help me survive more as well against the waves, because I am just taking too much damage and getting cooked in the waves, and I need all my champions to break that shield, right? So he should help quite a bit. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Let's talk about missions too. So my missions I've caught all the way up to this point, get 3 rank 6 champions. I am well on my way to that one, just leveling food, and then we move on to the next. So I've been doing very, very well in every part of this so far. I don't think I have anything here that I can't do. This is stage 10 or higher. That's easy. Stage 10 or higher of Spider. Demon Lord 7 million. Oh, I could do that on normal for sure. And then Fusing Relic Keeper, going to get me some legendary books. So I'm well on the way there. This is just to hold up getting that 3rd champion to rank 6. I don't know how close I am. I do have 1 chicken, and I have 2 4 stars ready to be ranked up. I just need to get the food for them, and here's food enough for 1. So we're on pace, right? Just gonna keep leveling up some 3 stars and some 4 stars and get that food going so that we can get Venomage up to 6 stars. Now this is why I gotta say, guys, you know, in the comments people pushed for me to go Venomage over Tyrell, but I gotta tell you, I wish I had a 6-star or a 5-star Tyrell right now for Fire Knight. That Fire Knight issue that I'm having would be much easier if Tyrell was the one that was booked and leveled. He hits a lot harder, just direct damage, and has that turn meter control on the A3, plus a double hitter A1, and I could break my rule and rank up Tyrell, but I really want to do 1 champion at a time, and it's bad enough that I broke my rule to level up Armag, only to have him fail in doing what I wanted him to do on Fire Knight. So, and that's not his fault per se, it's my gear's fault. Speaking of, I did promise we'd take a look at this gear that we just got, the Perception gear. Let me see if I can do just new. I've got a lot of gear recently because I've been running a lot of stuff. You can see we are getting some more 5-star stuff now. I do like this is HP with some speed on it. I don't know that is necessarily going to make it into a build or not, but I do like that it has HP and speed. That's going to be good for some support champions. We've got some speed gear here. Unfortunately, no speed on them, which is not great. Both of these are going to get sold. Let's see. Yeah, ooh, that's all 4-star stuff. I am trying to get away from 4-star at this point if I can. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do, of course, but if I can make it work, I want to try and get away from 4-star gear right now. This is an interesting piece that I'll probably keep. I got this today. It's got speed and accuracy with defense percent, so that's potential. Here we go. Perception, we've got speed and resistance. Okay, and same here. Not the best, but it does have speed on it, which is going to be valuable. And you'll see we have some pinpoint gear as well. Now let's go talk about the event dungeon. So I leveled this up to, or as high as I could do it. So stage 10 is as high as I can do it. Now, you have a chance to get a lot of gear I don't really need. Would I like accuracy gear? Yes. I don't care about curing. I don't care about critical rate gear. Don't really care about days, although I am intrigued by the potential of this being used on a Loki with his AoE A1. I think I'd like to put him in a stun set if I could. And then we've got crit damage, which could give me some early stats, early crit damage on my nuker, but um, I don't know that it is really going to be a big set that I'm going for. Now, the one upside is there is a chance that I can get a ring, amulet, and a banner. And this will be 4 to 5-star gear at the current difficulty that I can farm. It's not the worst place for me to farm. I don't know if it's the best. I will wait until the tournament comes out and do as much of it as I can. They did say there will be a tournament for that particular dungeon at some point. I don't know when that will be. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I the problem that I have, this gear is good, but I don't know that it's for sure good for me. Now, what I love about it is that it's higher speed and lower accuracy. So, for example, the perception gear we just looked at, when you complete the set of perception, it's higher accuracy, lower speed. I like that I get more speed and trade it off for a little less accuracy. And of course, the pinpoint gear itself, which we could just look at right here, has this intercept at the beginning of the fight. This is very, very valuable for debuffers and strippers. By strippers, I mean like buff strippers, people that take buffs off enemies. I don't know that it's gonna help early game, right? Because other than not getting stunned by the clan boss, it doesn't help me with clan boss. And clan boss is still the focus of any new account, as it should be. I haven't really talked in depth about that, but if you're new to the game and you're following along and doing a ninja account, clan boss should be your focus, because it's where you're going to get books, it's where you're going to get shards, and there is some decent gear in there too. So we are currently, by the way, just an update for you, depending on affinity, we actually almost 3-keyed it today, but depending on affinity, we are a 4-key on Brutal. So we did 27, I needed 21, right? Now I was before I did that last 7 million, I was at 20 point something. So I was very, very close to 3-keying it, but that's because I had a good affinity in Magic. Now I have done this where I did 2 keys on Void, and then it switched to Force, and I wasn't able to clear it. So, not great. Why do I have an extra key left over? Did we get a compensation gift? We must have got a compensation gift, and that's why I have an extra key. There's been a lot of updates and patching, and when they do that, they usually give you a clan boss key and some energy. So the question becomes, what is next for me? By the way, I did finish Masteries on Ninja. I think I mentioned that in my last video, but we're doing good there. So what's next now for me? Well, it's time I get to work on Venom Mage. So ideally, this energy gets used leveling champions. That needs to be my goal now, get Venom Mage leveled up. Once Venom Mage hits 6 stars, then I throw Venom Mage into Minotaur, and we start farming up those masteries. We just get cooking on those masteries. And then hopefully, we have 3 champions that are good enough to farm stage 15 of Minotaur. Because right now I'm still farming at a lower difficulty on Minotaur. I think I can manual my way through stage 15. This is not 100%. Stage 14 is, I think, where I've been farming. I may still be farming on stage 13. I think stage 13 is more consistent than stage 14. But anything's better than stage 12 because of affinity. So hopefully we can start farming stage 14 more consistently by just throwing more champions at it. Champions can solo Minotaur at a certain point, The main reason that I'm unable to do so right now is my gear limitation. And that brings me full circle back to, is it worth it for me if I'm gonna use energy in a dungeon to do stage 10 of this dungeon and there's a chance that I get bad gear. There's a chance that I get pinpoint, but is pinpoint that good for an early game account? Do I care? I'm not facing polymorph in this game right now, you know? Like, that's the thing I keep coming back to. I don't know that for early game players this dungeon is going to do it. There is one caveat to that. There is the fact that I can also get accessories, and that's accessories that have a chance of giving me speed, right? If I'm able to get 2 of those accessories, I could actually give myself speed and accuracy on a champion, right? There is value there, big value there. That's not something we've been able to do previously. Well, not with the sets I currently have access to. We'll put it that way. So that is a little bit intriguing, but the other problem I come to is that stage 10 of Spider's Den has a glitch, and I have a higher chance of getting 5-star stuff from here than I could get a bunch of 4-star stuff from the other place. So I'd kind of rather farm here just for pure stat sake. If I really want accessories. Now, they don't give me the bonuses that pinpoint accessories give me, which is a bummer, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and where you think I should be spending my resources in the game. I think that's everything I've got for you guys. I did try to progress in Doom Tower. This is about as far as I could make it. Had to manual all these fights. Once we get a little bit more leveled up, maybe we can attempt again here on normal, but yeah, things are going pretty well. I can honestly say, like, I'm pretty happy with it. Just keep waiting in here for a Kale Soul, which would be really good, or obviously, or a Ninja Soul would be a good start too. So, oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about, which is Clan Siege. Now you can see there's only a few hours left. My team is well in the lead, and they have given up. They have not tried to attack any more locations at all today. So we have defeated them. The problem is I'm not going to reap any of the benefits, which is fine. I was hoping, and just simply hoping, maybe we get an empty room in here. Maybe we get somebody that has a team as weak as I do, that we can kind of capitalize and take advantage and maybe get a win somewhere. Unfortunately, that is not the case. All of these teams are pretty reasonable. This one, wow, we had a lot of people. Oh, sorry, those are the rebattles. I was like, wow, a lot of people fought that, but this was probably the most reasonable, but that's still a well-built team. I don't think my team would have had a chance against it. So ultimately, I wasn't able to get the rewards, which would have been really, really good for me. And this is one of the downsides, because they're smart and they don't let me get away with it. They don't let accounts like me get away with it. So I'm unable to get any points for victories, and I certainly won't get any points for defense because I didn't place any teams. So yeah, no luck there. My free-to-play main account, great rewards for them, which is awesome. So that's where I'm at. Also, for the extra legendary event, that's bad. My mercy is not even close. Not even a thought for me right now. So we're not even touching that at all. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the video because we are a little bit over time. I managed to keep it a little quicker than I thought, so I'm happy about that. I did run into some silver issues with one of the missions, so I did use one of my silver tricks in here and sold a bunch of the 3 to 4 star stuff. Unless it was a really good piece, you saw one of those pieces that made it through the cut there, so that kept me good on silver. And so now this energy is going to be used up leveling champions, and hopefully we'll have Venom Mage 6-starred in the very, very near future. As far as primal stuff, that really doesn't impact me at all in the next this weekend on this account. But on my other accounts, you'll be able to see that. So account takeover tomorrow, shard pull on Friday, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy my content and you have not already done so, please consider subscribing. It is the best way to support my channel. Um, I'm trying to turn this into something special, something big, maybe eventually branch out into other stuff, right? So any support you're willing to give me, I will appreciate, even if it's just clicking that button or leaving a comment or clicking like. It really does help me out, and the channel is growing at a good pace, and I'm very, very happy about it. We're managing to do so without like a very like crazy community. I'm very, very happy about it. So please consider that if you would. And that's all I got. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.